year.
First pitch swinging, line drive, he's done it. John Means has no-hit the Mariners. They go! Brown fakes, dishes, Kyrie going for the 50-piece. Irving has 50!
Pressure from the Steelers. Mayfield in trouble, he's going to be taken down. Who else but T.J. Watt?
First downs on this drive. Heineke end zone, McLaurin touchdown.
Torres drives that ball center field, hit deep, going back near the wall. Wilkerson maybe, nope, goodbye home run. Get him out of there. Don't throw to him.
I never seen anything like
Put
it.
up four fingers.
I've never seen anything like it.
He is just tearing the Orioles apart.
Jonathan Taylor, goodbye, touchdown, Indy, as he crossed the tape at the goal line. 78 yards.
And here we go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Sports Department Podcast. I am Stephen Bologna, joined alongside Jesse Norman, and it is everybody's favorite time, NFL draft time. It is currently April 4th, 24 long days away from the NFL draft, with the Jaguars being on the clock. And we are here for our first mock draft of the year. Had a big trade today that gave 2 first-round picks to the Saints. Eagles still hold 2 first-round picks as well, along with getting a next year first and second. So Philly looking a little bit more towards next year's draft class because it is a little bit better at the moment. So, Jesse, how's it going? Are you excited for the draft?
You know I'm excited for the draft. The draft is the best time of the year. Always.
Great. And, last year when we did our mock 1.0, I won't forget this. We had the Giants taking Micah Parsons. Someone in the comments called us stupid for them. That it was a bad pick.
I think the Giants wish they took Micah Parsons.
God, yeah. Everyone does in the top 10. So we're going to flip a coin here, Jesse. We're going to do an odds and evens. One of us is going to get all the odds picks, and one of us is going to get all the evens. So, Jesse, so we'll do whoever wins gets to choose what they want for home or heads or tails, and they get to choose. No, I don't want it to flip. All right. So, Jesse, I'm going to give you the pick. Heads or tails?
I'm going to go heads.
All right. It is heads, so you get to decide what picks you want. Odds or evens?
I am going to go probably evens.
Okay, so you're going to hold every even number.
2, 2, 4, 6. Yeah.
All right. Well, we might as well get it started.
Slightly off because on your team.
I know it wouldn't. I kept trying to figure out how to change the A, the letters, but yeah,
I don't think. Hey man, you're not Microsoft.
No, definitely not.
Microsoft Fluent. So MLB Network, check that out. He lied about it.
Yeah. So the Jaguars hold the first overall pick, and this is a pick that's kind of gone up and down so far. When college season was still around, it was Aiden Hutchinson's guaranteed number 1. And for a little bit, it was Kayvon Thibodeau might be a little bit more of a game wrecker. Then it was, the Jaguars need an offensive tackle. Evan Neal seems kind of the perfect fit. Then it was Ike Ekwonu was in the conversation. And now it's Georgia defensive end Trayvon Walker. So there's a lot of different ways that Jacksonville can go with this. But I'm going to stick with the media hype, Jesse. We're going to keep with Aiden Hutchinson.
You're sticking with Aiden Hutchinson?
I'm going to stick with Aiden Hutchinson.
All right.
He is a game wrecker. We saw that throughout the season against Ohio State. He's got great speed off the edge. One thing, that is kind of impressive is he took on a lot of double teams, which honestly kind of freed up his buddy, David Ojabo, to get some recognition.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Hutchinson, he's going to be a great pass rusher. Against the run, he could probably use a little bit of work, as all edge rushers can. You sit here and you really say, well, is Aiden Hutchinson really the best prospect that the Jaguars could take? But it's a position of need. That defensive line is bad. K'Lavon Chaisson has not developed into the type of defensive stud that Jacksonville hoped. And now with new head coach Doug Peterson, you can get that anchor on the defensive line with Aiden Hutchinson. So the Michigan man, just like you, is going to be off the board, number 1 overall. So you have the Detroit Lions.
I do have the Detroit Lions. Wow, what a time. I mean, there's been some hype lately about them possibly going quarterback. I don't see it personally. It really sucks that they have absolutely no need for a tackle, because I think there are 3 really good tackle prospects in this draft. And then you look and you're like, oh, there's really good corners, but are you going to take a corner at number 2? That's just seems really high.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with and be safe and take the pass rusher. And I'm going to go Trayvon Walker from Georgia. He probably wouldn't have finished the year in the top 10 without the workouts, but he has been scary in workouts. He is a very good athlete. He was a game wrecker at Georgia. I mean, he's on the Georgia defense. That's really all you need to say about these Georgia guys. If they were playing and had significant snaps on the Georgia defense, they are really good, because the Georgia defense was probably better than the Jacksonville Jaguars defense last year, except against the Colts.
Yeah. Trayvon Walker,
Texans.
Like you said, Trayvon Walker's been someone who's kind of flown up the boards, but let's keep it with someone who really hasn't flown up the boards. He's kind of been a guaranteed top 3 pick since the season ended. And we're going to go with the Bama man himself, Evan Neal, offensive tackle. I mean, we're talking about just someone who looks the most pro ready. I mean, you're talking about someone who's going to be a top 10 offensive tackle at the end of his rookie season, and probably the best tackle prospect that we've kind of seen over the past few years. I mean, last year was Rashawn Slater, and even at 13, it was
and Sewell. Yeah, and
Sewell as well. Yeah, but Sewell was kind of raw. Evan Neal is a bona fide stud, and unless he gets hurt, I really can't see this being a failure of a pick. You already have Laremy Tunsil on the left side. You get Evan Neal on the right, and he's played all over the offensive line. So you take best player available here. Kyle Hamilton could be an option, but as some media sources are now saying, he might be falling a little bit, as well as Kayvon Thibodeau. But, I'll go with the safe pick. I'll get my franchise tackle for the next 10 years with Evan Neal.
Yeah, I like the move of getting Neal, because if you put him on the right side of the line, he's probably an all-pro pretty quickly.
Yes.
With the left tackle, there's probably more room for error, more room to grow. On the right side of the line, he's getting significantly less pass rush, not covering the blind side.
Yes.
I like the move for the Texans. I think they also realistically might go Ahmed Gardner as well.
Yeah.
I think he fits their defense. I think he fits a lot of defenses. But yeah, no, I think that's definitively Evan Neal is my number 1 player on my board. He's the best
awesome.
pass protector by far. Run, he could get a little bit better. I'm not going to knock him too much for that, but pass protection, I think there's a real case that he lands in Jacksonville solely off the fact that he will be able to protect Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, and I mean, if they didn't franchise tag Cam Robinson, it kind of would have guaranteed his spot. Unless I still don't think there's a way. I still think they could trade Cam Robinson. He hasn't signed the tender. So I still think they could just get Evan Neal, but they didn't want to lose Robinson for nothing. Yeah, it's fair. So the Jetsies, your favorite team.
The Jets are weird, because I really would want them to take Ikem Okonwu, but I feel like they really like Fant for some reason, or they seem to really want to keep that going.
Yeah.
So it's not. I mean, I think they're going to go Thibodeau. I think at this point, if Kayvon Thibodeau is there, they will grab him. He fits that scheme very well. He'd be able to keep his hand in the dirt. And that's where I like him more. I'm sure he can stand up and beat, but Hutchinson is better, I think, as a standing up 3-4.
Yeah.
Thibodeau I like much more as a 3-4 end or a 4-3 end, excuse me. Yeah, I like Kayvon Thibodeau. I think the Jets will use him right, especially with Salah having that 49ers, defensive scheme with multiple pass rushers coming from all different avenues and having coverage linebackers.
And, Thibodeau, there's really no he was the number one prospect out of high school in 2017. And, other than this year, he never really made his mark on college football, but he was an absolute animal this year. And you're talking about a physical freak, something that the Jets could really,
Yeah.
I mean, you and I talked about it earlier. If he ran a 4.4 or 4.5 and, had some crazy athletic combine numbers, probably could have played himself in a number 1 overall. But the Jets stopped the slide here, and they could arguably take, someone who can wreck a game like a Myles Garrett, 2-3 sacks a game.
Has that huge potential where you have to game plan against them.
Yes. Now, the other New York team for me is the New York Giants. Ah, man, I wish I could just have them take like Breece Hall. But, we see Evan Neal off the board here. And, at pick 7, we also have a pick for the Giants with the Panthers at 6. And you assume Panthers probably going to go quarterback at this current moment. So I could kind of go whoever I want here, because I know if I like another guy, he's probably going to be there next. But the biggest problem for the New York Giants that they have decided to just not solve for the past 3 years has been the offensive line. And I'm going to go Charles Cross from Mississippi State.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cross up here who they like better between him and Okonwu. Cross, you're just getting a giant on the right side. Andrew Thomas showed flashes of being a pretty good left tackle, and you can even kind of flip-flop, maybe play, Charles Cross at guard. But if you're the Giants here, you have to shore up the offensive line. Sauce Gardner was another option. But again, like I said, he could be there if Carolina keeps their pick and ultimately does go quarterback on draft night. So I'm going to stick with Charles Cross.
Yeah, I like Cross a decent amount. I think he's the biggest boom or bust prospect because he has great measurables. He's kind of raw, but he also has gotten better with every snap that he's gotten. I think he fits with the Giants better than Okonwu does because Okonwu is probably more of a run blocker.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how much the Giants are really going to run much this year with Brian Daboll. And, that the offense that they're bringing in. So, yeah, I like the pick.
You're on the clock. And do we see the first quarterback off the board here for Carolina?
I think we do. I think we are going Malik Willis.
Yes. Now we're
out
talking.
Of Liberty. I've loved Malik Willis this whole year. I've been saying it. All throughout the year when everybody said this was a bad quarterback class, I kept saying, yeah, but it's not as bad as everybody thinks it is. There's still going to be at least 1 to 2 starters, and Malik Willis has the potential to be a really, really good quarterback. And I think everybody has also kind of come around on that opinion. I just like to think that I had it first. Malik Willis is good. I mean, he has everything that you want in a quarterback, in a star quarterback, but he is raw. He does need some polish. He has the arm strength. He has the mobility. He gets lazy on a little bit of throws sometimes. He does use his legs a little bit to bail him out sometimes. But those are things that, every college quarterback has here and there. And especially when he was at Liberty and he's playing teams that he is significantly more talented than, you kind of expect him to do those things.
Yeah.
And then there's the only real knock on him was, well, he played bad teams. You can't dispute it, but he was at Auburn. Auburn decided they weren't going to play him. He decided he wanted to transfer. he chose the college that he did, and he had a good season. Competition wasn't great, but then he shows up at the Senior Bowl, and everybody can't stop talking about him.
Who did they play the last week of the year? Who did they play in their bowl game? I know it was a pretty decent name. I'm going to look it up because he had a really good game.
Yeah. I was a big Malik Willis guy this whole year, and I think the pro days, the combines have really helped him, and he's shown a lot of character growth. I think he has been a really good interview guy, a really good guy that you want to build your team around. Oh, the Eastern Michigan.
Yes.
Yep. They beat them down.
Yeah.
I do remember that. Yeah.
He had 231 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 rushing touchdowns as well. So that's pretty awesome. He is, he has solidified himself as QB1. And with Carolina, you need a boom. You need that guy
you need a quarterback that can move, because your line is abysmal too. I think that needs to be stated.
Agreed. Now here's my other issue with Carolina going quarterback. Well, with Willis especially, there's plays where he's like, holy shit, that's awesome. And then there's some plays he makes that it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Just shows the rawness. But every quarterback's going to have that. Now with Carolina, 2 years in the Matt Rule era has been bad. And if they don't somehow win the South, that whole staff is probably leaving. Now, if you're the front office, do you really want to take a quarterback and then end of the year new coach, new OC, and he's got to start this whole process again?
Well, here's the thing though. You kind of have to, because you're not saving your job with Sam Darnold and with PJ Walker. You have to take that gamble and hope that Willis hits, and that he hits enough that even if you don't win the South, maybe you can salvage something there.
Yeah.
But I think if you're the Carolina Panthers, what else is there out there? Are you really going to go down the Baker Mayfield route? And then, if you go down the Baker route, I'll say this, you're probably setting yourself up very nicely for next year when CJ Stroud and Bryce Young become available.
Yeah.
Other than that, if you're willing to wait a year, cool, good for you, I guess. Then probably grab the best player you can, which would be Ahmed Sauce Gardner, I would say.
Yeah.
But I can't. If I'm the Panthers, I can't go into the year with my quarterback being Sam Darnold. I can't do it.
Yeah. Sorry, one sec. No, yeah, I agree. Unless you maybe want to go offensive line and you look maybe towards Baker Mayfield. All right. Sorry, text messages. So the Panthers take the first quarterback in Norman's mock, and now we're back to the Giants. And this is kind of how I was looking at this to play out. I'm looking at Kyle Hamilton. You had Xavier McKinney with a breakout season last year, so you're kind of good at safety. Linebacker could be an option. You missed on Micah Parsons last year. So Devin Lloyd's an option here, or Nicolby Dean. But I feel like, James Bradbury's been amazing, but they're looking to move off that contract. So you're going to need a CB1. And as the man said on Twitter this morning, he thinks he's the best player in the draft, and that's Sauce Gardner, someone who didn't let up a touchdown in his career at Cincinnati, and in the game against Alabama, played awesome. This is a guy who you're talking, I believe, Jalen Ramsey type impact. He certainly has the swagger. Is it going to translate to the NFL? He's going to talk all this crap, but it's got to translate. But the Giants need a playmaker in the secondary, and I can just see Sauce being an absolute ball hawk, locking down one side of the field. The injuries have never really been there for him. And, it kind of seemed like Derek Stingley was bona fide number one corner. But Sauce has done this now for 3 years at Cincinnati. If you want to bring up the competition, they played Alabama this year, and he let up what? 1 reception for negative yards against John Mechie. I mean, I'm in love with Sauce Gardner. I hate that he's probably going to go to the Giants, but you're talking about a bona fide CB1. Day one, he steps in the building. Yeah,
I think this is the furthest he falls. I think this is the last place that he ends up going. Is the Giants. For all the reasons you said, I couldn't agree more. He also he did great at the combine. He ran like a 4.4, and at his size, to run a 4.4, that's really good, because honestly, all he probably needed to run was like a 4.6 to stay in the top 10. Because he's a long press corner, and sticking a guy on somebody man to man and just letting him lock him down, and having really good man corners is how you build the foundation of also having like a zone defense where you can mix and match. And that's what you need to do at this point in the NFL to win. You don't win on the defensive end with one specific defense that you run constantly all the time at the highest level. If you are at the highest level in the playoffs, you need to switch and give different looks. And that's what this gives the Giants. This allows those kind of things.
And he's not afraid of anybody either. Like I'm sure day one, he's going to want to shadow Devontae Adams, as crazy as it is, but he's just that type of player. So I got the Falcons on the board here for the Norms. What are you thinking?
I mean, the Falcons have a lot of needs. They're tearing things down. Yep. At this point, I'm going best player on the board that I think they could grab, that they need at the biggest position. They have no receivers. None.
Literally.
Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State has got to be the guy. He has the most potential, I think. I love Jameson Williams. I think the injury doesn't really change anything, but Garrett Wilson being able to perform at the combine really did put him over Williams because he had such a good combine. And Williams probably would have had a great combine as well. But you got to go with what you've seen. Both Ohio State guys are so good. I think Wilson edges out Olave because he can do a little bit more. He has slot potential. He has potential where you can put him on the edge. He has, end around potential, a guy that you can scheme for. And right now that offense has Kyle Pitts and Cordero Patterson, I think is still there. I think he resigned. And then your quarterback is Marcus Mariota, so he's probably your third biggest threat. You need a receiver. You let Russell Gage just walk to the Buccaneers. Like,
he was good.
Gage was great. They don't have any receivers. They have to go receiver here.
I'm with you. There's really 5 guys who can make the argument for CB1 or wide receiver 1. Wilson, Olave, Drake London, if you like a go up and get it guy, Jameson Williams, and Treylon Burks. It's really all who you decide. Wilson was awesome this year. Like you said, he can kind of do it all. Slot, he's a good blocker. He can go up and get it. And for the Falcons, this is rebuild mode now. You cut your losses with Matt Ryan. You're eating that whole contract. Mariota's in the house now. You need a playmaker for him. The offense, they've drafted so many offensive linemen for the past 4 years. They took 2 in the first round, I believe, or 2 in the first 2 rounds last year. Get another playmaker with Kyle Pitts and hope he works out. So the Seattle Seahawks, they got rid of a quarterback named Russell Wilson, their greatest in franchise history, to Denver. So this was Denver's pick, but now it is Seattle's. And not only did they lose Russell Wilson, Jesse, they lost Bobby Wagner, the key of that defense for the past 10 years. If Malik Willis was here, I think the Seahawks would bite. They have Drew Lock at the moment.
I think Willis, if he falls at all, he doesn't get past Seattle.
Agreed. So that's why I'm thinking they're going to take Bobby Wagner's replacement and go Devin Lloyd out of Utah. Incredible awareness, great ball skills, incredible tackling skills, good against the run. Pass coverage could probably use some work. But this is a guy who is just an athletic freak, and kind of excited to see where he does end up. But if you're Seattle, I mean, how many defensive picks have they whiffed on the past few years? I mean, LJ Collier is the first one that pops to mind as a first rounder.
Year after year. No, Jordan Brooks, I think, is, good, but can't stay healthy. Rashad Penny can't stay healthy. Think about all the running backs.
Yeah. So get your man in the middle with Devin Lloyd. Let him just kind of learn and take over with Pete Carroll. And who knows, maybe if you can even get him to what half of what Bobby Wagner is, it could be a good pick. It could be a good pick. And I feel like Lloyd has kind of solidified himself as the first linebacker off the board. Nicolby Dean, he hasn't
specific, I think.
Didn't participate in the combine or his pro day, which is a little interesting. So teams are just going off tape at this point. And I think Devin Lloyd kind of separates himself as the number one guy. So Devin Lloyd to Seattle for me.
Yeah, I like it. I think that works for that defense. They have a huge gap at linebacker. I could see them going Kyle Hamilton maybe if they wanted to try to rebuild that secondary somewhat, because
they still have Quandre Diggs. Do they bring him back?
I think so. I believe so, if I had to guess.
I also think so as well.
I mean, yeah, if you want to get back to what Pete Carroll does best, which is the secondary and locking down defense, I think that works, because Lloyd's going to be covering a lot of tight ends and slot receivers and playing that Bobby Wagner role, and that's probably what he would be best in.
Agreed. I'm excited for Devin Lloyd. But now it is you with the Commanders, your favorite team and your favorite owner in all the NFL.
Okay. So there's two picks here that I'm thinking of, because there's one that I do, and then there's one that I think the Commanders might do.
Oh, God.
If Kyle Hamilton is there, you absolutely grab him. So that is the pick that I'm going to lock in. It's Kyle Hamilton. You guys need a safety. You get the best safety prospect. I don't care that he ran a slow 40. His game tape is much faster than that. He is definitively the best player on the board right now at this point. That being said, Payne is a free agent next year. They just lost Settle. They have to choose who they want to pay. I think Jordan Davis is a definite possibility for the Commanders. I don't hate either pick. I think Hamilton is the better pick just for where they are at right now. But I do think Jordan Davis is definitively a possibility.
I give you props. That's the first mock I've seen with Jordan Davis, the big man in the middle. I like it. I love the Kyle Hamilton pick too. I mean, him and Cam Curl could be something special for years to come.
They need to commit to Curl. They can't keep. They had the Landon Collins thing. They did Bobby. Didn't they do Bobby McCain?
Yeah, they
kind of moved Curl to a third safety kind of role. I don't like that. Curl looked great in his rookie year. You don't move him to third safety then.
Yeah, I'm with you. If like you said, if Kyle Hamilton's arguably top 3 prospect in the class, so if he's there, you kind of want to stop the slide. If not, Jamin Davis didn't really have a good rookie year, so if Devin Lloyd falls, that's an option. I think a wide receiver is definitely an option.
I think Okonwu is also very much an option.
That's fair, yeah. Or
I think linemen are always on the table.
Derek Stingley Jr. too, if you want a corner.
You think I mean, well, the thing about Derek Stingley, and it might look like he's slipping, is the problem is we haven't seen him.
Yeah,
no
tape.
The freshman year, he looked like, that is definitively going to be the number 1 corner when he comes out of the draft, And that was the last time we seen him.
Yep.
So is he still kind of the number one corner? Talent doesn't go away. It doesn't, he didn't lose that ability. We just haven't seen it. And when you're not seeing something, obviously the stock is going to slip.
Yeah. I love the pick here for the Commanders with Kyle Hamilton, safety out of Notre Dame. But speaking of Derek Stingley, Jesse, we're on to the Minnesota Vikings. And the Vikings, they could use a corner. They re-signed Pat P, obviously. Their first-round pick from 2020, Jeff Gladney, is now –
he just signed somewhere else.
I saw he came out not guilty. So now we're going to stick in the purple and yellow with Derek Stingley and put him in a new purple and yellow uniform with the Vikings. Like you said, the only knock on him is that we haven't seen him. COVID year obviously shut everything down. He didn't play. And last year he opted out to prepare for the draft. But like you said, talent never goes away. And the Vikings do need a corner that can really lock things down. And what a guy to learn from, like Pat P, who is a master of his craft for these past 7-8 years. Another LSU guy, another guy
I was
who
going to
wore
say,
number.
Pat P went to LSU, didn't he?
Yep. Another guy who wore number 7. And you arguably, if you think he's CB1, you take him here at 12th overall, which could be huge. So the Vikings need a lockdown corner. They've been missing it since Rhodes left. So they stopped the slide here of Derek Stingley.
I like it. I think, hey, the Vikings love going secondary players. Yeah. I mean, it is a different regime there now. We'll see. Some things don't change, though.
Yeah.
I love the fit next to him next to Pat Pete, though.
Houston for the Norms' second pick in the first round.
Houston's in a weird stage right now because they really probably should just go best player on the board because they do have so many holes. And they also really do need, I think, receivers and playmakers as well. I'm going to go Jameson Williams. Give me Jameson Williams.
Oh, man, that would be nasty.
I mean, if you're really going to commit to Davis Mills for the year, you might as well at least give him something to work with. And then if it doesn't work out with him, at least your next guy that comes in has a good starting receiver who has a high ceiling. The ACL injury does not scare me.
No.
I can't remember the last guy that hasn't come back from an ACL injury, like especially at a young age. Literally can't. I'm trying. The last person I can think of is in NBA, and it's Jabari Parker.
I mean, if you really want to think about it, I know his success was awesome in the NFL, but Todd Gurley had the ACL, and then he started to develop the knee problems few years after.
Yeah.
That's really – but again, you got 4 years of RB1 style of play.
MVP level for a couple of years there, too, where they were running through him. Yeah, I mean, the injury doesn't scare me at all. You might as well, if you're committing to Davis Mills, you might as well give him a weapon. I mean, who's their wide receiver 1 right now?
Is it? I know they're looking to trade him, but Brandon Cooks, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know Cooks was there, but I figured he was on his way out.
Let me see.
I literally.
Nico Collins. They signed Chris Conley and Deshaun Hamilton.
Okay, yeah, come on, yeah. Add Jameson Williams there. If you add Jameson Williams and flip Brandon Cooks for a 4th round pick, beautiful.
That'd be great. And like you said, Jameson Williams, he tore the ACL in January. So you're talking 8 months by the start of the season in September.
Yeah.
Even if he misses a couple weeks, come on. You stop the slide.
I think he'll be good by training camp.
But
I think he'll be good in August.
Now, Baltimore's on the clock for me, and there's a lot of good pieces still left.
I think there's one here that if they're still there, the Ravens rush up the pick.
And I'm hoping I can get this right. I'm going to go Ike Ekonwu, tackle.
The run
lost,
blocking. Run blocking fit. I mean, it just works so well. That it's exactly what they need.
And, you're talking about someone who can be your OT1 on the board, and you're getting him here at 14. You lost Steeler great Alejandro Villanueva. Now you can slide him in at your left or right tackle, maybe even guard. I know he's a little bit shorter. And he could just be a mauler for you, something the Ravens need. And it could just be fun. It could just be, the Ravens they hit on every draft pick. They really do.
Yeah.
So for them to take potentially OT1 in their eyes here at 14 could be a steal. And we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, no, I think this is the perfect fit. I think this is exactly what they would want. He's not the best pass blocker, but guess what? That doesn't matter because they don't need him for that. They wouldn't need him for that whatsoever.
Yeah.
And he could develop into a pass blocker. I think he is an all-around great prospect who could develop into an all-pro tackle both ways. But as of right now, you could also slide him into guard too. He has reps at guard. And if he is a guard in the NFL, he is a all-pro guard by probably year 2.
Yeah.
Because he would run people over.
Agreed. Good old Ravens getting a stud mid-round. But now we have Philly. Philly held 3 first-round picks in the matter of, I think, 6 picks in this draft. Traded one of them to the Saints, but they still hold 15 and 18. And Jalen Hurts is, I guess, their guy for this year. I know that they kind of went hard at Watson a little bit, kind of went hard at Russell Wilson, but clearly they struck out, and this is their guy. Jalen Hurts is their guy. So what do they do here to help the squad?
Yeah, I mean, if you are going in with Jalen Hurts, which I think they clearly are, you definitely need to give another X receiver. You need to give another guy that can match up with Devontae Smith. And I think the guy that they're really going to like and they're really going to target is going to be Drake London out of USC.
Yep.
I think he gives them a very good fit in the Sirianni offense of quick slants, RPOs, end arounds. He can play in the slot if you need him to, if you want Devontae to stay outside. He's also, he's huge. He's big. He's a big receiver. You can put him on the outside as well. You could make the case for Burks here.
Yeah.
I think honestly, Burks, I think tops out at DK Metcalf. And at that point, if you're going to spend a first round pick, you might as well just ship it to Seattle and get DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
So I just don't love the draft of the Treylon Burks thing right now. I think London is a little bit more multi-dimensional, and I think he fits a little bit better in Philly.
Fair. You're talking about a go up and get it guy who they really haven't had. They wanted JJ Arcega-Whiteside to be that guy, and clearly he was not. So Drake London is a good pick, and again, this is all preference. Drake London could be their best receiver on their board, and it could fall right into their laps. So the Eagles get a receiver here with Drake London out of USC. Now the Saints traded up for this pick here at 16, and I'm really questioning why. It's not for offensive line because they're really good at taking offensive linemen. They drafted Cesar Ruiz last year.
I mean, they do need a left tackle, but there's no tackles left on the board at this point. So,
and if you really wanted to, at pick 19, they can take Trevor Penning, who's kind of flown up the boards. They re-signed Jameis for 2 years, so the quarterback's probably out of the question here in the first round. Taysom Hill's already he's done playing quarterback.
He's a tight end. So you don't need one of those.
I am kind of confused on where they go. I'm trying to think of their wide receiver room.
Michael Thomas, Marquez Callaway. There's another one they drafted higher in the past year or so.
I feel like they could use another receiver.
Well, Michael Thomas also could be available for trade, I think, as well, was rumored.
So I think I'm going to take Chris Olave off the board here and get that speed deep threat, somebody who they can kind of just play around with and see where he fits. He comes up with big catches all the time. You know, the size is a little bit of an issue. I'm pretty sure he's under 6 foot.
You just put college Olave.
Oh, whoops. Maybe he did go there.
Chris Olave went to Olave.
But I mean, I really don't know. Like, there's no top corners on the board at 16 that you can really justify going. Defensive line, Davenport he's turned it around a bit.
But they still have Cam Jordan. Interior, maybe. Still have Demario Davis as linebacker.
That's what I'm saying. So
I mean, I think maybe I don't think Hamilton slides this far. But if somehow, some way Hamilton did slide, they could grab him. They have a need at safety.
Jordan Davis, potentially.
Maybe if Stingley slips.
I think maybe Jordan Davis, potentially, because I don't know who their man in. Oh, no, they have Onyemata. Onyemata's pretty good. I don't know.
The defense overall is pretty good.
I'm going to stick it with receiver, and I'll take a speed threat with Chris Olave.
All right, let's go to LA, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Chargers, and I'm running this ticket up immediately as well. Jordan Davis, Georgia.
Oh, yeah. Perfect
fit. They can't stop the run. Jordan Davis is an athletic freak. You don't just have him stop the run, honestly. He split snaps at Georgia. Once again, everybody, for the most part, split snaps at Georgia because they were so talented. He's an athletic freak. He should not be as quick and as agile as he is at his size. And I think this is the best case scenario for the Chargers.
He is, I want to say physical freak, but he's just awesome. He can do anything. He's got some swagger to him. I mean, he even lost a whole bunch of weight last season too. So I love the pick. I mean, I think they still roll out Linval Joseph, who's just old at this point. Yeah. So they need. I mean,
if you have the worst ranked rush defense, I feel like you have to make a change.
Yeah, and now you have Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack on that defensive line. Good guys to learn from. Jordan Davis could be a home run pick potentially. So I love it. I really do. So with Philly again on the clock here, got their receiver. Now I'm trying to think, is this confirmed Jason Kelce's last year?
Oh, I don't know. It's got to be up there.
Because I'm trying to think of their offensive line. We had Brandon Brooks retired, I'm pretty sure, right?
Retired, yeah.
That answers my question right there. Tyler Linderbaum, Iowa. Someone who at one point was top 10 pick, kind of guaranteed. You know, I know he's a center, but you can move him interior or, you know, you could keep him interior for a year and then Kelce retires. Perfect. We have our center right there. And I think not CB. That'd be kind of funny. But I think he can be a stud. And one thing we know, Iowa can churn out some offensive linemen. They really could. So,
well, I mean, he's a great run defender. What do the Eagles do more than literally anybody in the NFL?
Yeah, they run.
I don't know if I love him as a fit at guard, honestly. I think he's a really good center. Yeah, I mean, I think it works. Kelce, I think, should really realistically only have 1 to 2 more years.
Yeah.
You could see them maybe going to Nicolby Dean. I don't know if he necessarily
that was my other option.
Yeah, I think if they don't go Linderbaum, it's probably Dean.
Yeah.
That's probably what I would go with. Yeah.
Yep, agreed.
All right. Saints up again.
Yep.
Saints up. I'm going Trevor Penning.
Oh,
they have
baby.
a giant hole at left tackle. that Teron Armstead used to be. I mean, that's pretty much it. He's flown up and down boards. He had some good workouts. He had some bad workouts. He's got good size. He's kind of a little bit older, I think. I believe he's a senior. And he didn't really come onto the scene, I think, in draft terms till this year.
Yeah.
But, I think this is more of a need thing. Maybe they could go Nicolby Dean or Karlaftis if they need an edge. Maybe Jermaine Johnson from FSU. But as of now, I would probably just go Penning.
That's fair. I mean, Senior Bowl, he was an absolute monster against some top talent. So the ceiling is there. And like you said, they have a whole left tackle now that Armstead's gone. But the Steel City is now on the clock, and I'm doing it, Jesse. I have to do it. Do we really think Mitch Trubisky's the future, Jesse?
I just hope you pick the right quarterback.
Kenny Pickett?
No.
Oh.
I mean, you can pick him. It might be the guy that they pick, but at this point, it's not the guy that I would want.
I'm going to stick with Pickett here. This is just simply because of the Pitt connection. And, we're talking about someone who is looked at as the most pro ready. I know he came just on the scene this year, but you're talking about a 3-year starter. The hand size, it is what it is. I mean, everyone's
gloves.
I think I saw one scout say, like, who cares? Like, it's not that big of a deal. Joe Burrow had small hands too coming out. But the Steelers, they are definitely a win now team. And if Trubisky is going to Trubisky, I feel like Mason Rudolph's not a viable backup. So I think the chances, I mean, I know they would love Malik Willis as kind of a lot of
there's
teams
no
would.
chance.
Yeah.
No chance.
There's no shot. But Pickett is a very good number 2. And I have him sticking in Pittsburgh in this mock at least.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. That's probably the move that's made. Personally, at this point, after watching some more, I might be higher on Desmond Ritter than Pickett.
Okay.
Ritter's given me Pickett worries me. He doesn't throw to the outside a lot. And he's not a big guy. And I wonder how he's going to work in an offense that features a lot of outside receivers in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something he could definitely develop. It is just definitely a concern of mine. As far as the hand size and the gloves, I mean, Ben kind of started to wear a glove too at the end there. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But the weather in Pittsburgh is not exactly friendly. So, yeah.
We'll see if the Steelers keep picking in town on draft night. But now, your favorite team, the Patriots, someone you were very high on last season and just kind of got sauced the fuck up in the playoffs in Buffalo.
Hey, but they got to the playoffs.
They did get to the playoffs.
That was a lot further than a lot of people thought they would.
And they just got Jabari Parker, too. So potential receiver move? Or do we go somewhere else?
I think we're going to go the best player available for me that is a top 11 guy for me that's just fallen too far, and that's Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State, the pass rusher. Really, really talented. Some people kind of knocked him for transferring out of Georgia. He was not getting enough snaps at Georgia. He went somewhere else where he could play, produce double-digit sacks. I think he's not that much off of Thibodeau and Walker. I think, there are so many picks apart, but that's just kind of a slide for me. I think he's an incredible fit on a lot of teams, and he's a guy that can just go out and get after the quarterback.
Yeah, like you said, the slide stops. Bill loves his defensive linemen. So this guy can turn into something special. Matt Judon on the other side to learn from, who was a force last season, just adding to usually a stacked defense, even if they have a bunch of no names. So Patriots getting a defensive end, and now the Packers are on the clock for me, and this seems kind of easy. Really good receiver on the board with Treylon Burks, and they've lost Devontae Adams, and this, I should say, is the Raiders' pick because Devontae is heading out west with his boy Derek Carr. Marquez Valdez-Scantling left. He's going to the Chiefs. So at the moment, Alan Lazard is your wide receiver one, and it's not good. So I'm going to go Treylon Burks here out of Arkansas. Physical guy with some good speed who can kind of do anything. You ask him, Tyler. Trey.
Tyler?
So yeah, I think it has to be a wide receiver here for the Packers, no matter what.
Yeah, no, absolutely. They don't have anybody, literally anybody. They thought they were going to be able to bring back Valdez-Scantling, didn't bring him back. Obviously thought they were going to be bringing back Devontae Adams. They're probably going to have to get at least minimum 2 receivers in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah.
You're hoping from a huge stride from the Clemson receiver from last year.
Amari Rodgers.
Yeah. Amari Rodgers. You're hoping from a huge jump from him.
I don't know why they haven't traded Jordan Love yet. I don't know what they're doing. I really don't.
I have to imagine the compensation is just too low.
But what's going to make it?
I would ask the Panthers right now if I could trade Jordan Love for Robbie Anderson immediately.
That's actually pretty good. Yeah. Who the hell knows? But Roger stuck around, and Devontae got out of town and got paid. So the Cardinals now are on the clock. Started off awesome and crapped the bed the last part of the season.
Yeah, so the thing about the Cardinals is there's always 2 versions of the Cardinals. There's the Cardinals when Kyler is healthy, and there's the Cardinals when Kyler is not healthy. And Kyler gets banged up a lot. Big part of that is their offensive line.
Yep.
And they are weakest, I think, at guard. I'm going to go my best guard probably left is Zion Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
I think you got to try to keep Kyler upright somewhat. I don't know if you really can, but that's your franchise guy.
Yeah.
And they said it, if you remember on Hard Knocks this year with the Colts before the Cardinals game, they kept saying over and over again, if we want to contain Kyler, we have to get pressure up the middle. And that is where most teams beat the Cardinals was Kyler couldn't throw into the middle of the field. One, because he struggled to see over the linemen and needs time to kind of bootleg out, but also because pressure was constantly coming through the middle of the line.
Yep. I like the pick. It's either really him or Kenyon Green are the really only 2 top guards in the class. And this will help out the run game too, because they actually had a pretty solid run game last year with James Conner. So anything to keep Kyler happy. They obviously have their wide receiver one. They re-signed Zach Ertz. I know they released Jordan Hicks, but that just paves the way for Isaiah Simmons. So linebacker's not really a need. I really can't see secondary here. So offensive line or defensive line is the way to go. But offensive guard is a huge need. So I do like it. So now we're at pick 24 with Dallas. And this is a team that is kind of looking for another receiver, but I'm not going to go receiver here. I'm going to go with the replacement of someone who pulled the old switcheroo in Denver with Randy Gregory, and I'm going to take his replacement with George Karlaftis from Purdue. Like I said, Randy Gregory dipped. He signed with the Cowboys and then said, nope, went to Denver. So I'll take his replacement here. And, DeMarcus Lawrence is getting up there. I feel like they've tried to move on from him for the past few seasons, and they just haven't been able to. But I think Karlaftis could be a solid player for them on just a young defense who can kind of just find find his role, and kind of just go off that.
Yeah, I mean, losing Gregory is big. Parsons, they like to use as an off-ball linebacker and also to pass rush. But if he's your only pass rusher with DeMarcus Lawrence, who's aging, no, they had to cut Lawrence, didn't they?
They might have worked out
a deal. Okay.
Yeah.
But an aging DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons as your only pass rush isn't the best case scenario. So getting a pass rusher, definitely a good move.
Yeah. The Bills for the Norms.
I don't care. I'm doing it. Kenneth Walker, baby.
Yeah.
Put it on the board.
I was going to say running back. So
look, if Daboll is leaving and, you're putting even more on Josh Allen, you already are set at receiver because you have Stephon Diggs. Gabriel Davis had an incredible game in the playoffs. You have to see what he can build on. You have playmakers all over. Devin Singletary and Zach Moss. It leaves some to be desired. Kenneth Walker is, to me, the best running back in the draft. He's not the best pass catcher per se. I don't think they need him for that. I also think he can develop into that. Michigan State didn't need him to be a receiver. They needed him to run the ball a lot, and that's what he did. His vision is insane. His speed in the open field and the way he can just break tackles. He's patient. He has great ball carrier vision. I mean, there are a lot of good running backs in this class. Walker is the best. I don't know if, there is a running back taken in the first round. If there is, though, I think it should be by the Bills. I'm not sold on Singletary. And if you're the Bills and you're going all in and you need to make a Super Bowl, you need to go into that deep run, you need to give Josh Allen as many tools as possible, because I'm so tired of, teams constantly being like, oh, we have to go get out a corner. We have to go get a safety to try to You're not disrupting Patrick Mahomes. He's just going to put up 40 points on you. So you might as well go out and try to get somebody that can help you put up 40 points.
Yeah, no, they missed out on the J.D. McKissick move. He went back to Washington. And honestly, if they get McKissick, they probably avoid running back here, but they need to stop putting off the biggest need and just get it. I mean, they needed it when they drafted Singletary, and they thought a third-round pick or fourth-round pick was going to fix it. No, obviously not. By the way, do you see how much time we have? I can't see that. Does it say?
I do not. Nope. I thought if it was two people, it's unlimited.
Oh, I think you're right. Okay, perfect. That saved my time. All right, so the Lord and Savior of Norman goes 25 to the Bills. So now the Titans are on the clock, and I'm thinking something bold here.
I have a pick here that I think is pretty low key, but I don't think
I'm thinking something bold. Now, the Titans, they are ready to win. I think that's kind of fair to say. If they trade A.J. Brown by the draft, probably receiver here, but I don't think that's going to happen. They got rid of Julio, but Nick Westbrook-Akina kind of filled in nice, and you could take a receiver anywhere. But the one problem that we kind of see is Ryan Tannehill's might not be the guy. I could not
agree more. I couldn't agree more.
I don't know.
Are we thinking the same thing?
I'm going to say Matt Corral.
Oh, I was not going Corral, but Corral fits.
Are you thinking Ritter?
I was going to go Ritter.
Okay, I'm going to go Corral.
I think I see Corral because the RPOs, he fits a Derrick Henry offense.
Yeah. Like you said, this is Derrick Henry's offense. Ole Miss connection? I don't know if Corral was there with Brown.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean, he might have just been a backup. But the quarterback has not been there for the Titans, and he's been the sole reason they haven't won. So if he doesn't work out this year, you can cut your losses and you can ride out with Matt Corral.
There are reports that the Titans have done a lot of research on the quarterbacks, and that they have guys that they like in this draft. We do not know who they are. Corral definitely does fit. I think Ritter fits as well.
Yeah.
And also, I think, we're obviously not going to do it, but I think in these, last couple picks, there are going to be teams that trade up for a quarterback because they want that fifth-year option. A team that I'm looking at specifically is honestly the Giants and Sam Howell. I think Sam Howell is a shorter version of Josh Allen when he was coming out. I think that he could absolutely run that offense. And I think there is nothing in the Giants organization tying them left to Daniel Jones. And they can't just go in with Daniel Jones. So I think in this latter stage, look out for a team to trade up and grab a Desmond Ritter, a Sam Howell, a Matt Corral. I think it's definitely possible.
I'm with you. I could totally see someone trading up, and obviously there's going to be teams trading up. But this mock, we're going to do no trades. But next mock, we'll do a trade. I know you had a couple odd ones last year. Your 4-team trade with the Patriots and the Vikings.
Whatever that would have been sweet.
Whatever the hell it was.
How many times did I say the Patriots would love Barmore though?
You did.
I did.
I will give it to you. You did, and he had a great rookie year. But now the Tampa Bay Bucks are back in the news too. Bruce Arians is back to the front office, and Todd Bowles is taking over. And a defensive-minded guy. Do they go defense here at 27?
There's a couple things to look at here. Also, you're looking at offensive line. You lost some guys there. Do you maybe go Kenyon Green because you need a guard? You could also, I think, Ndamukong Suh's status also, impacts a lot because if he's not there, they might have to go Devontae Wyatt to get another guy to help stop the run.
Yep.
And you pair him with Vita Vea. I think there's pass rushers that they could like. Christian Harris comes to mind. Receivers, Jahan Dotson maybe as a slot. There's so much that the Bucks can do here. I'm gonna go Devontae Wyatt. I'm gonna say Ndamukong Suh does not sign back. They have to get a replacement.
Love it.
I think it works. He's another guy that fits. He can help stop the run. Eventually can probably grow into even bigger of a role. I do like Christian Harris there from Bama for them, maybe too. A guy that can move around a lot. But they did just get Joe Tyron last year. So I'll hold off.
Yeah. I definitely see where you're coming from. Either that or offensive guard. I know Kenyon Green's on our board. They did lose.
Yeah, I was.
They lost Marpet and whoever went to the Bengals. Kappa. So, but yeah, defensive line could be a big one for them because JPP too. He's up there. I don't know how long he can stay kind of consistent or healthy. But yeah, no, I do like that pick. But now the Packers are back on the clock for me with their original pick. And I really don't know. I don't know. I don't know what their guard situation is. They're all offensive line.
They kind of always just flip linemen is the issue. You think they don't have linemen. They have a guy from the 5th round 2 years ago that just comes in and starts.
I kind of want to go Nicolby Dean, but at the same time, I don't. Because they do have Devondre Campbell on a pretty big deal now. I'm going to go, just trying to look at our top prospects here. Do they go double receiver? Probably not. So I'm going to go, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go into Nicolby Dean. He is someone that he's a leader. And for a Packers defense who has been bad the past few seasons, get someone in the middle with Devondre Campbell who's going to take over and step up big time. And I think Dean's that guy he showed in the national championship. A little bit of a slide here in our draft for him. He could go much higher, but if you're the Packers, you like a good anchor on the defense, because I remember they are interested in a linebacker. I mean, as we remember, they were the first one to poach Jalen Smith off the market when he hit it, and he obviously didn't work out. Preston Smith is an edge guy now. He moved away from linebacker. Zadarius is gone. He went up north in your division. So potentially another edge rusher, but I'll go with Nicolby Dean, who, God forbid, if Campbell gets hurt again, can run my defense.
Yeah.
I
think that's a good picks. I think that's the best player available there. So you might as well just grab him up. And I don't think you go receiver back to back. Chiefs on the board. I think I'm gonna go George Pickens.
Love it. I was gonna say the same thing.
They need a big bodied receiver. Or not a big body. They need a guy that's, not a Valdez Scantling. They need a not Juju who's in the slot. They need a guy who's going to be kind of in between, but also gives them a Tyreek Hill kind of deep threat. God, it's going to be so hard for them to replace Tyreek Hill. But, I mean, you got to try. You got to try.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm sure they're going to have who am I thinking of? Someone who left. It wasn't Pringle that left.
Pringle and Hardman left, both of them.
Where'd Hardman go?
I do not know, but I know he is not there anymore.
Yeah. So hopefully Pickens could just become – I'm sure he will become a dog for – look, I've got 3 Bulldogs in a row.
3 Bulldogs back to back to back.
I know he will be he'll be awesome wherever he does go, because he's a big body and he's just really, really good. So – now the Chiefs are on the clock again. And one thing, I was thinking safety here, but they were able to get Justin Reed. They loved Juan Thornhill. Linebackers, Nick Bolton and Willie Gay, they already have. I'm going to go
Hitchens too, right?
I'm sure they still have him. He's been there for years. So I'm going to go with a corner, Roger McCreary out of Auburn.
I was going to take McCreary last pick if I didn't take Pickens. I think he's a great man corner.
All they have at the moment is L'Jarius Sneed. DeAndre Baker's your number 2.
What about Ward left?
That's a good point. I'm not sure. I feel like I haven't heard his name in forever.
That's a good point. I think he might still be there.
Maybe.
But I think McCreary works.
Yeah, and he's probably CB3, depending on how you kind of want to shake it down after the first 2. But he could be a good defensive player for them, even if he just starts off as a rotation guy, come in and make some plays. And these two can go up against each other in practice, I guess.
I want to trade picks with you. You should pick for the Bengals so I can pick for the Lions.
Okay, sure. I will do that. Interesting here. What's the Bengals corners looking like?
As far as I know, Trey Waynes was there.
Eli Apple. I'm gonna take there's Devontae Wyatt. That's what I was looking for. I'm gonna go with Kaiir Elam from Florida.
Yeah.
Somebody who kind of early on was looked at as maybe CB2. Lanky guy who can play man, can play zone. He's fast, he's quick, good hands. Someone who, not a CB1, not Florida.
Florida.
Not
Florida. Florida equal sign.
There we go. Not someone who's going to come in as CB1 right away, but someone who can be a rotation guy and hopefully grow into a serviceable corner. And the Bengals, they did well. They solved the offensive line, hopefully. So I think secondary is the pick. Safety, they already have Jesse Bates. So potentially here they go safety in case maybe they're worried about not locking him up long term. But I'm sure Bates wants to be there. So I'll take a corner, and you, Jesse, can round it out with your hometown team.
Desmond Ritter.
Oh, baby.
Cincinnati. Get the 5th-year option on him. He doesn't need to play this year at all for the Lions. That's what you have Jared Goff for. Ritter looked great all year. He didn't play great in the Alabama game. I think the coaching staff kind of was trying to hold his hand too much and do too many checkdowns, too many underplays. And they weren't taking the top off the defense at all, which was kind of how they were playing all year. He has a little bit of accuracy issues here and there. He was very strongly a one-read quarterback in Cincinnati. Once again, I'm not comparing him to Justin Herbert. I'm just saying when Justin Herbert was at Oregon, he was a one-read quarterback because that is what Oregon made him. At Cincinnati, Desmond Ritter is a one-read quarterback because that's what they asked of him. There might be more there than we've seen.
Yeah, no, I mean, Desmond Ritter, he's got pretty good short accuracy. He can work on the long accuracy over time. He's got good athleticism if he needs to get out of the pocket, and he's a big guy. He's like 6'4", 6'5". So, it kind of does suck because they have a piece already with Amon-Ra St. Brown. They were able to get DJ Chark only for a year, but if he goes well, could potentially re-sign him. But yeah, I mean, the Lions, they obviously
Josh
can't.
Reynolds.
Yeah, got Josh Reynolds. Obviously, they can't have Goff as their long-term QB. So, like you said, 5th-year option. You can get 5 years of Desmond Ritter on a cheap deal. I highly doubt it, but unless they go quarterback at number 2 with Malik Willis, I highly doubt it. But you never know. But at the end of the day, he goes 32 overall, Desmond Ritter to the Lions. And that is our official first round. So next time we're going to do full 7 rounds.
Full 7.
Oh, God. So, we have Hutchinson 1 here ending with Ritter. Now, the top prospects available that you have, who do you think would be the first guy taken off the board on the following day with the Jaguars?
I mean, the guy I would love to see taken first would honestly be Christian Harris.
He's so good.
Out of Bama. I think, there could be a lot of untapped potential there. Micah Parsons-esque, where he could move around, not to the level maybe of Parsons, the athleticism of Parsons, but just that role of he can be an off-ball linebacker and he can also be a pass rusher for you. So he can play all 3 downs. Quay Walker's also another guy that I think is interesting, could be moving up a little bit more. Kenyon Green also is probably a starter. So, those are 3 guys I think that are still probably first-round grades at the minimum that I have that are still available.
Jaquan Brisker, for me, he seems like he can be really, really good safety out of Penn State.
Yeah. Penn State always has good safeties.
Yeah.
It feels like.
So we'll see, but we'll definitely do one more mock before the season, before the draft, that is. And, we'll maybe add some trades in that one just to kind of see, or I'm probably pretty sure that somebody will move up before then. The Lions are probably a team to watch to trade back. Jacksonville, maybe, if they really don't want a top guy. But we'll see when time gets a little bit closer. But Norman, thank you very much. This was a grind, but I think this is honestly a pretty good, not too many. Obviously, there's going to be some surprises on draft night, but, this is realistic. Team needs, and I like it. I do. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how close we get.
Did a good job.
I know. But all right, thank you all so much for listening. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Instagram, on our socials in the description. But thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.